MV3 Traders Futures Trade Radio is brought to you by The Ultimate Trader's Guide, your one-stop shop for the most valuable income-producing information on the internet. Go to ultimatetradersguide.net to learn more. Link in the description below. All right, what's going on, everybody? How we doing? Hope everybody had a good weekend. Got a fresh week. Ready to start today's session. So I'm gonna change the format a little bit for these live streams, and how we're gonna do this is before the open, before the bell, right before 9:30. I'm gonna give like a little, basically my pre-market awareness. I'm gonna go over that. So by the time my trading window starts, what'll happen is I completely focus on trading. It'd basically be like a screen share. It'd be more of a screen share more so than, a narration. And that's gonna last throughout a period, right? So I'm just gonna be basically screen sharing, not really saying much during the A period, and then I can get back in and say whatever's on my mind or then do some narrations for B period. That's the overall format. I really just want to make sure I'm focused, because I know I don't trade as well. I noticed I don't trade as well when I'm trying to also stream and narrate and do all these things. I don't trade as well on Mondays and Fridays as I do throughout the rest of the week. And, a lot of that I think has to do with just not being completely focused on my trading. So that's the format for now moving forward. So let's go ahead and get into this. We got about 4 minutes before the open, a little less than 4 minutes. Plenty of time to go and talk about what we're looking at. So with NQ, we do have a decrease, and I'm supposed to be more visual aspect to this. I was supposed to work on that this weekend and get the chance, but that's gonna change also. But anyway, so a little bit decrease to some of our numbers. So we got an ATR 15.68. That's from a 30-minute perspective, and relatively low volume compared to last week, especially compared to last week's close. Like the last two trading sessions were, that volume we had a nice little volume increase, nice, increase of participation. Starting today's session until now, we still got relatively low volume, which could change if we got PMI at starting at 9:45. There's some PMI, and then there's some PMI at 10 for B period. So it'll be interesting to see how we roll into those events, how those events are used to get things moving, if even. So I'll be, that's keeping my eyes out for, what could potential volatility spikes during those times. And then so for NQ started today's session with an interesting, with a gap down, an inventory run, taking us down to PR plus 2 overnight, or PR minus 2 overnight, where we started our retracement back inside the neutral zone. And right now I'm looking at supply just above PR 50, which is 14,570 and a quarter. And we're kind of just holding inside that, what is that, about a 10-point range between PR 50 and the PR low. Setting up shop right there before the open. But overall, we're trading inside of Friday's range, and we're also in the highs of last week, near last week's highs. We're just kind of we're giving this kind of, budgeting structure from a wholesale perspective leading into PMI. So that's pretty much the gist of NQ. There's not a whole lot going on, just mostly ranging. As far as the others, the ES is kind of holding the similar structure to NQ. It didn't gap down. It didn't have the same gap But it's been trading completely inside of its neutral zone. And then YM and RTY have basically been just slowly dropping their supply throughout the session. With RTY, so YM dropped below the PR low and RTY dropped below PR, its PR -1. So that's the pre-market awareness, and we are open. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock in and focus as we start this session with a nice little supply run for NQ. And also, let me know what y'all think, about the formats and how, different ways that I do go about doing these live streams. Do that in the chat, in the comment section after the fact, however you want to get down with that. So if I do see something, I may call it out, even though I'm not really on the mic. Just like right there at the open, we've lifted the session high for a nice potential look above and fell. Quickly lifted it, came back inside the overnight range. I did kind of take a break here as we got like a minute before 9:45, and I don't like to trade through those economic events that are marked as significant. It was an interesting supply lift there. Interesting supply run leading into that 9:45 event. In a 3-minute perspective, we're seeing a strong inventory picture. There we go, 9:45. We got some volatility. Very light volatility, like a mild response. Pretty much nothing. No surprises there. Well, not yet anyway. Could take a while. Like a couple seconds. That's what I mean by a while. think I'm gonna stop here as far as my trading. If I'm being honest with myself, I always am. So we're at this B period, and we at my B force break. So this is normally what the time I take a break anyway. But really, what I'm stopping is I noticed. So I ended up getting myself in the hole, and not really. This is how the strategy worked out. It's perfectly fine. And then with the 945 stuff, and kind of missing some trades there, and then as things progressed, I noticed just being aware to self that I kind of wasn't trading exactly the way I was supposed to be trading the strategy. So there's some things. So how I approach that is I start looking at what I learned to do was start looking at the beliefs I have, because the actions I take are going to be based off my beliefs. So once I notice that I'm not trading exactly the way I'm supposed to be, so I'm taking the triggers that I'm supposed to take. I followed the plan and all that there. I followed the plan leading into, my normal plan is to not take any trades leading into some quote unquote major economic news, just so I'm clear of whatever happens there. If I miss it, I miss it. I'm not here to try to catch every single trade, but I'm here to catch the trades I'm supposed to, if that makes sense. So I did all of that, right? And I think leading up to that, I also held my, I did practice good patience, if I remember correctly. I have to go back and look at it. But I did hold my trades, my positions, for as long as I was supposed to, until I got the actual trigger to either take profit, like scale out of the position, or to exit. But after that 945 period, I realized I was based off the price action, and I end up, and I'm sure being in the hole also had something to do with it, I ended up not holding my winners as long as I was supposed to. So first thing I would look at is my beliefs. What beliefs kind of led me to reading the price action the way that I was reading it, and how things were playing out, and I have to do this after the fact. While I'm still in the moment, there's still a lot going on energetically, so I have to let that energy dust settle, come back into it. Usually I take notes and just kind of either I replay or I look at some screenshots and stuff like that, and try to see what kind of beliefs I have based off of the trades that I took. So then, that's how I approach the moments where I don't follow my plan exactly to a T. Because I did get myself back into the green. I did get out of the hole, but I could have did that and a lot more had I actually held the trades like I was supposed to. So saying all that to also say, this is why I wanted to have this morning's session as just like, so my A period, just to have it as a screen share and not really do a lot of narration, because I want to start stripping away the things like I realized last week that I wasn't trading. Probably realized it before that, but I realized last week that I wasn't trading the way that I'm supposed to on Mondays and Fridays. So I need to strip away every layer that I can to actually get to the root of what's going on. So I don't really have these issues like that. It's not always perfect, right? Sometimes I may make a mistake, or, you know, have a technical issue that may lead to a mistake for them. But overall, Tuesday through Thursday, I trade much better than I do on Mondays and Fridays. So I need to start stripping down each layer to see what the root of that is. Appreciate that, Origin. Definitely maintain awareness to the progress. I'm definitely maintaining the awareness to the progress that I made. Much different than I got kind of the interesting volatility came right in there at B period. So this is the PMI that they're going to use. I'm not saying that. I also kind of think they use that the 945 PMI as well, and I may have been a part of being used in that. But anyway, I don't like that. But anyway, yeah. So I definitely maintain awareness to the progress I made, which is important to also kind of as a tip, important when you're trying to progress and be the best trader that you can be. It definitely helps because this environment has a lot to do with confidence and recognizing the progress, even how small or how big as it may be. It helps to recognize and, you know, give some appreciation energy to the progress that you do make. So nice little, was that a supply inventory response leading into the supply run that we're getting. That brought us back to that area where we gapped down over the weekend. And what's interesting, so as a level, but it's really a range, but so I drew out a line at 585 and a half. So just that 585 range. I drew a line there before. I don't even know when I drew that line. That's several sessions ago, I'm sure. But that line still has a mechanical use to it. So we brought inventory back to that 585 area. That, you know, brought us into the B period news, and where we saw a slight volatility spike. And now we got this, we had a supply run up to PR +2. And now we're retracing all of that. That move there, we're almost 100%. We almost retraced that move 100%. Back below A1. Gonna pick up some inventory there off of PR +1. Let me remove all these extra drawings I got on my chart. Also got some another automation point above 612, starting to see a supply response front running that and A1. Came into A1. We are stalling here. A little bit of supply negotiation up here at A1. Right now we're holding a wide range between 632 and 600. Main inventory at that 632 range, that's that 632 zone. Our main supply at that 632 zone. And the inventory at 600. With a couple quick supply points. So here's I would call this area the low of the supply zone at 624. Potential T1 short. That's actually a T1 short. From a micro perspective, this could trade from in either direction from here. Feel like I want to term this 50-50 ball, kind of a basketball reference here, but we're seeing I'm watching a little battle, which normally I call a negotiation. So we negotiated there around that 620 level, and then brought supply back into that supply zone. mechanical response off PR plus 2. Yeah, I kind of like that. So anywhere where I'm reading that price could go in either direction, I kind of like calling that a 50-50 ball. I'm gonna have to take a note on that one. So in the supply zone, I'm seeing some potential inventory. We are negotiating once again. I will be looking at 624 to see if we break that level, to look for some more cheaper inventory. Right now that is holding up as inventory, as new inventory. Getting a supplies lift. Quick supply lift brought us right back into that previous quick inventory, back inside our previous shop where we had that wide range. Dropped the inventory down below 620 to around 616. We're gonna test out this A1 again. Negotiating inside at A1. Reading this as wholesale is just budgeting for whatever they're trying to do next. Back into that 636 supply. A lot of volume building in this area between 632 and 636. Is that going to hold up as supply? Brought inventory back to A1. Haven't really set up any seasoned supplier inventory yet. By the way that I'm reading this on a micro scale. There's our cheap inventory push. Coming back to that automation point, it was once at 612, now it's below 610. We're gonna, if that's a mechanical point of interest, did front run it. We should if I went short up there around at 634, just looking at the structure, I would have that area as a point of interest of taking profit. So of course, from a front running mentality, I'm not gonna wait till we get to that area. I'm actually gonna start taking profits before that, just to increase the chances of me getting fills and me getting hitting the profit targets that I would actually want, versus trying to wait for that level and then someone else front running me, and then now I gotta watch price go in the opposite direction from where I had my max profit potential. And then off all of that, that created some more supply run type of participation. We're gonna lift the supply one more time, and NQ is just holding these wide ranges, taking up a lot of space with its supply and inventory reactions. Or responses, that's a better word. Overall, we're holding this, trading inside this range of 650 to that to that 585 zone. I gotta change the color of that because it's hard for me to see it. So for the rest of the session, it's not really a whole lot. We just kind of trading inside this shop, this overall. So there's this structure here, I would kind of refer to it as a mall, but we have some shops within shops, where Wholesale is setting up shops within shops, with the overall quote unquote mall being at 650 to 585 range. So I'll be looking to see, once we come back to the edges, to those edges, what kind of response do we get if we break out? Do we get a look above or below and fail, or what exactly happens? Of course, we know NQ can do anything. Anything is possible. From a daily perspective, I could see a lot of shorts getting excited if we make our way back to that 585 area. And I can see the potential for a lot of those shorts have already, initiated positions above PR+2. Which would mean they would want to cover at that 585 if they did initiate up there. And of course, we're going to have people who are looking to buy at that 585. So this could keep that price, this could keep price inside of this range for a while, until those two perspectives are quote unquote exhausted. I would say more so they have already reached their goals, or either maxed out on the losing side of the game. now we're looking at that automation point that I was mentioning before. It was at 612, then it went below 610. Now it's at 616. We're using that as a point of supply. It's trading mechanically getting supply off of that automation. I also had a nice little supply response at A1. It's in the same area. Inventory back down below 600. Another automation point there at 596. While I'm watching this, I did notice one other thing that I did, an area of improvement for myself. Last week I was kind of, not really being done when I said I was going to be done. So I would say I was going to be done, and then I end up continue watching and take another trade after I was supposed to be done. Not really feeling that itch this week so far. And I think, the main reason what led to me actually making an improvement there is just having an awareness to it and calling it out. Definitely being honest with yourself is a useful tool when it comes to trading in a way where you can gain consistent profits, or trading to be consistently profitable. Being honest with yourself will take you a long way. You don't have to share it with the world like I do, but definitely want to do that. And like I always mention, journaling is a good place to place that energy. That's how I look at journaling now. It's not necessarily just about what I've heard other people make it about. That's the best way for me to summarize that. So the way I look at journaling is you have this energy inside of you, and a lot of times you need to release that energy. So one effective way, two ways that you can release it is you can actually talk to someone else. So, as a way they can kind of take on that energy and help you, either you just give it to them and they take on that energy. So now you're released to that energy, or they can help you kind of deal with that energy in a more efficient way than what you would go through, with just holding it in. But if you don't want to talk to another person, another effective thing to do, and I find writing to be a better approach than actually trying to type it out on a computer or a phone. But to release that energy, it helps to journal. So you put that energy outside, you take it outside of yourself and you put it down on paper. But if you don't want to write it, you can also say it out. It's also effective, in my personal opinion. For me personally, it's not as effective as writing, but you can also type it out. Put it in digital form. It's still energy that's being placed inside of whatever you're putting it inside of. I mean, if that sounds too, quote unquote woo woo, and I hear that term a lot, but if that's too esoteric, it's literally energy once you understand how computers work, from just talking about the digital side of it. So every time I take an action on this computer, that's an energetic pulse that I'm sending inside of my motherboard, inside of the hard drive, inside of, the components of this computer. That's literal energy that I'm putting inside of the computer, right? So you can look at it from that place if, you know, the whole energy thing that I mentioned, how I mentioned it before, is kind of throwing you off. It literally is energy. I can go deeper into that, but I'm not going to turn this into a computer lesson. So anyway, we're still holding this shop. We did make our way back down, kind of front running that 585 area. Tapped some inventory off of 590. Brought supply back up to 620. Kind of closing the window on this shop. Overall, from a 3-minute perspective, creating this giant flag pattern or pennant pattern. Still holding price above the overnight high. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do actually lift the supply at some point throughout the session. We still got a lot of time within the session. Price can honestly go in either direction, but you know, for me, I'm not going to be around to see it. I got some other stuff to do, so I'm gonna go ahead and close up my shop for the day. Hope everything that I shared was helpful to somebody. That's the whole reason for me putting it out. It's not about look at me and what I'm doing. It's about sharing my experiences so that it can help others who have, you know, maybe dealing with similar situations, which is something that I kind of didn't see available to me when I started trading. Not as many people were talking about trading. And those who were, they were talking about the same thing. It was like mostly technical and just the typical psychological stuff that you could get out of Mark Douglas's book. But anyway, with all that being said, I hope everybody have a good rest of your session, good rest of your day, and a good week. And until next time, trade it easy.